There is more than just the universe. The worldview of the two kingdoms. Written and read by Bernhard Kutzler. There are many phenomena that cannot be explained within the framework of the physical-materialistic worldview. Our consciousness is one of them. How does it occur? In the absence of other explanations, most people assume that the brain generates it, but without explaining how. There is no evidence for this assumption, but a ton of unanswered questions. In the following, I offer an alternative worldview that arises from logic, is very simple, can elegantly explain consciousness and all spiritual phenomena, and is consistent with ancient traditions. In the physical-materialistic worldview, there is only the universe. It comprises space and spatial phenomena such as matter and light. Its essence is separateness. Two different points x and y are separate from each other in space. There is a distance between them and it takes time to get from x to y. Distance and time are the basis of physics. The universe is the kingdom of separateness. Since there is no physical explanation for phenomena such as consciousness, it is only logical to look for explanations outside the universe, wherever that is. But in the physical-materialistic worldview, there is only the universe and therefore nothing outside it. Hence, we need a different worldview. In order to find one, we must not think and argue physically, because physical arguments keep us inside the physical universe. We must think and argue purely logically. What is outside the universe? I don't mean parallel universes, because they also comprise space and spatial phenomena and, therefore, belong to the kingdom of separateness. Outside the universe, or outside the multiverse of all universes, is something that has no space and therefore no physics. Is there something else than the kingdom of separateness? Yes, the kingdom of non-separateness. This kingdom is logically the opposite of the kingdom of separateness and therefore, in a sense, outside. While in the kingdom of separateness things are separate from each other, in the kingdom of non-separateness there is no separation and, therefore, all is interconnected. Space spans the kingdom of separateness. The kingdom of non-separateness is a non-space. What is a non-space? This question is initially a challenge because we only experience space with our senses and we prioritize these experiences. We see the spatial phenomenon of light with our eyes. With our ears we hear sound waves which are also a spatial phenomenon. With our hands we can touch objects, that is, the spatial phenomenon of matter. What remains without our sensory experiences? If you lie down, close your eyes, don't move and are completely still, what remains is your knowing, such as your thoughts and feelings. An Old English synonym for know is vitan, which has the root vid, meaning to see. So the word know fits for a seeing that goes beyond seeing with the eyes. Let's call it mental seeing. What do you know? Your knowing comprises perceptions or feelings, thoughts, familiarities, and intuitions. I explain these four ingredients in my articles. Intuition is much more than just a sixth sense, and why 230,000 people died in the tsunami, but almost no animals. These four ingredients are different, but not separate. Knowing does not happen in space. A feeling such as fear is neither above nor below, neither left nor right. Knowing has no physical properties. It has no length, no width, no height, no weight, and no temperature. It doesn't move. It is. All knowings are interconnected and influence each other. A feeling, for example, influences thinking, and vice versa. In the kingdom of separateness, you can remove things. For example, you can take a book off a shelf. In the kingdom of non-separateness, you cannot remove anything, because removal is separation, and that is not possible in non-separateness. Knowing also fulfills this property. You cannot remove a thought, that is, you cannot unthink it. You cannot undo your familiarity with trees. Even if you cannot willfully remember some of your experiences, they are still part of your life history and contribute to your familiarities, which influence your behavior. The daily work of psychotherapists is proof. Knowing fulfills all the characteristics of the kingdom of non-separateness and none of the characteristics of the kingdom of separateness. So, knowing belongs to the kingdom of non-separateness. You exist in both kingdoms. Your knowing is in the kingdom of non-separateness. Your body is in the kingdom of separateness. In the kingdom of non-separateness, all is interconnected. In the kingdom of separateness, things appear separate from one another. But at the level of the elementary building blocks, there is a phenomenon of connectedness that contradicts physics, quantum entanglement. This has already been proven experimentally with photons, neutrinos, electrons, molecules, and even small diamonds. This suggests that the kingdom of non-separateness is the foundation of the universe, that is, the kingdom of separateness. I call the kingdom of non-separateness EL or EL as an abbreviation of entanglement at large. In EL, all is entangled or interconnected. EL could also be called spirit or mind, but I avoid these terms here because most people have a nebulous but fixed idea of what they mean. This makes it difficult or even impossible to communicate meaningfully about it. How are EL and the universe connected? If the brain actually produced knowing or consciousness, as is usually assumed, then the universe would generate EL. However, the quantum entanglements at the level of the building blocks of the universe suggest the opposite. The placebo effect and psychosomatic diseases are also an indication that knowing influences matter, and therefore that EL changes the universe. This all suggests that EL creates the universe. I explain the why and the how in my article, Why and How the Universe is an Illusion, and in my book, Consciousness, Its Nature, Purpose, and How to Use It. Here is another hint that EL creates the universe. Imagine a person you love. You know you love this person. This knowing is an experience of love. Now try expressing this knowing or experience through texts, images, or sounds. No matter how many texts, images, or sounds you create, they are only a shadow of your experience and not the experience itself. The experience is infinitely greater than any attempt of describing it. You cannot recreate the experience through texts, images, or sounds. Knowing is formless. Texts, images, and sounds are forms. The universe, that is, the kingdom of separateness, can also be called the kingdom of forms. Forms need space. Matter has a form. Light has a form, namely a wave form. EL, the kingdom of non-separateness, is the opposite, that is, the kingdom of no form. The formless is infinitely greater than the formed. If you have an idea, it is formless. If you want to communicate it, you must formulate it as text, image, or sound, and the result is always less than the whole idea. The term information fits perfectly here and is obfuscating at the same time. It stems from the Latin words in and forma. Forma means form. In has two meanings. The first is into, as in the word injection, which literally means to throw in. The second meaning of in is not, as in the word incompetent, which means not competent. Therefore, information means both formed and formless. Il is information in the sense of no form. The universe is information in the sense of form. You can find out more about Il in my book on consciousness. There, I also explain phenomena such as clairvoyance, telepathy, telekinesis, and mental healing. The worldview of the two kingdoms is not new. Advaita Vedanta, for example, is a philosophical system based on the ancient Indian holy books, the Vedas. It describes two levels of existence, Brahman and Maya. Brahman corresponds to Il. Maya corresponds to the physical universe. Maya is the goddess of illusion, which reflects the fact that the universe arises from Il. In Hermeticism, a philosophical system from the time of the ancient Egyptians, the first and central principle is all is mind. The universe is mental. Mind corresponds to Il. The mentality of the universe corresponds to the fact that the universe arises from Il. While the worldview of the two kingdoms is old, its logical derivation is new. At least I don't know of any source describing this derivation. If you follow my logical reasoning, you know that these two kingdoms exist, what properties they have, and how they are interconnected. And you no longer have to believe.